All right. Good afternoon again. So we started looking at I think that should be general introduction to ethical hacking, right? Under which we have covered the four elements that we discuss also on the. Can somebody remind us outside the four key elements of security? I know we have discussed other topics. We have also explained the three types of hackers, right? Then the four elements of security, we have discussed that. I think where we are is this place, talking about types of penetration testing. So we have three types of penetration testing that we'll probably cover in this training. Like we have mentioned, internal penetration testing, external penetration testing, web application penetration testing. Now, just to highlight it during this course, some of the things we are going to learn will be techniques and attack, as you learn various techniques and attacks that you can use for each one of these type of testing. Remember that for us to refer to it as testing, it means that is pure ethical what? Hacking, where you have permission. You just want to check if the bad guys can penetrate. Then how do we describe the internal penetration testing? So this type of penetration testing is typically done to simulate what an attacker that has made their way into your network can gain access to try to differentiate the different types of penetration. So you will typically be on site and connected to network or remotely connected and be given right to break into as many machines as possible and find valuable information. Have we written the note before? Okay. So you can summarize the notes where you feel that. So let's look at the third type of penetration testing. So why we are highlighting all this is for you to know what you'll be doing when you are eventually employed tomorrow. So it's not just because it is very easy for us to say penetration testing. So what kind of penetration testing will you be engaged in when you are employed tomorrow? So just have it at the back of your mind that we have internal penetration, we have the external. So this type of penetration testing is typically done outside of a network, and test the ability for hackers to break in from the outside. So I'm very sure that this will be one of the most penetration testing you should be conscious about, because you will always make sure that the intruders do not have access. So you need to, at every now and then, find out their accessibility, whether they can actually access from the outside or not. So what we'll be doing is that we conduct this kind of test with public what? IP address for the network and try to break in. So still on that, sorry, so web application or website penetration testing. So this type of penetration testing focuses on attempting to exploit vulnerabilities in a web application. You see, the highest threat today is what? Websites, because most of these most organizations have database within their websites. If you ask me now, most of these online shopping company, almost all their transactions are saved within their what? Websites. So which means that a company can hire you and wants you to test that website, whether the intruders can actually what? Steal information from the website. So it is important because if a company is offering an application online that collects private information to people, then or they need to know that their application is what? Safe. So it's very important. So let's quickly talk about some cybersecurity job opportunity. Let's quickly discuss that. So at the same time, I'm highlighting cybersecurity career options. So you can see, as we mentioned cybersecurity, you think that it's not really wide. So it's actually a domain where we can all carve what? Career from. And some of the career we can carve from cybersecurity are what I have highlighted. So we have individuals that will specialize on security what? Analysts. So they will be addressed as security analysts. So just for you to go and expand your research to know what and what is required for you to be each of them. Of course, there are some that merely looking at their names, you can know the kind of specialization you should go into. Security analyst. It means these are individuals that we specialize on, analyzing what? Threats on system. We have cryptography professional. Who are the cryptography professional? These are individuals that knows how to cipher information. They know how to encrypt information in unreadable formats that the attacker cannot make use of. Malware analyzer, malware what? Analyzer. So these are, we talk about malware as suspicious what? Software that the bad guys uses or can inject into your system in order to capture sensitive information. We have the penetration tester, like we just discussed now. These are individuals that their responsibility will be on checking systems, whether they are secure or not. We have security architecture engineers, people who design the security system itself, just like your Microsoft Windows. The firewall is typically the design of what? The security architecture within that window. We have the IAM professional, application security professional. cloud security professional, network security professional. So all these are different careers we are derived from this field called cyber security. So this is just you may not need to write all this, just for you to be aware. Job opportunity in cybersecurity. So the job opportunity in cybersecurity is extremely large and grows exponentially by the year. So every time the job opportunity increases or is increasing because of the high threats out there. So now we want to look at another topic now. Your question?
Yes.
Okay.
There was something you said about the facts about the cybersecurity.
What?
There was something you said about facts.
Facts.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So the updated one has something to do with there's much more.
Okay, I asked you guys to go and research, I mean.
On that particular one.
Yes, yes. I remember I said people should, because that was at 2021. So I say people should go and research, right? So, okay, if you have any updates, give us.
So now there is much more threats in the healthcare sector. I don't know why. That's the question.
Okay, so where you got that research for? Is there no feedback link? Where you can ask them why? Headache what? So let's brainstorm and see whether we can factor the reason why. But what is there that is generating this? Let's look at it critically. Can anybody suggest any reason? You not to talk about financial firm, say.
Yeah, they did 70,000.
Healthcare. There might be a reason, but I don't think I can factor it out.
Healthcare industry maybe is targeted
Targeted based on what? What are they looking for? Is it more data? People that are
cost of $9 million.
if they steal patient detail, what can they do with it? Okay, so let's continue to research. That is assignment 2. Go and find out why healthcare is the most targeted area. Okay, so let's quickly look at. Remember, I told us that there are some prerequisites knowledge we need to have gotten before coming for this program. So gradually, I think after this very one, we'll enter practical after this one. So it means that now we have some reliable information about what ethical hacking is all about, the types, and some confidential information. Now that we have this information, we need to also understand that information on the internet moves on networks, right? So that is why we need to understand networking basis. Networking basis. Okay, so just a summary of what we are planning to learn or targeting this session is that we just want to go over networking basis so that you will understand how computers communicate. Very important. All right, so this is section what now? 2. Remember that everything we have discussed falls under section 1. I said we are going to how many sessions before we can say we are done with the program? 9 sessions. Is it 9 sessions? Yes. Okay, well, I know that we might have up to 11 sessions, but let's see how it goes. So, session 2, we are focusing on networking basis. So the first thing we want to look at is the summary of what we want to learn in this section 2. So we will be going over what exactly networks are. So in case before coming you don't know what computer networks are, we are going to learn all that. How data travels across the internet, we are going to also find out. The important ports and protocols, we are going to also know some ports that we cannot do without, or some ports that we need to understand the kind of data they convey, because these bad guys understand ports and the type of data they carry within the network. So they don't just target all the ports, they target ports carrying the data probably they want to steal. So you too, that you are mimicking their way, you need to be aware. You need to know that a hacker can target your port if you leave it open. So it's better the port is closed. And what will make port to be closed or open is when there are no what? Security what? Feature put in place. So we also talk about public and private IP address. I've told us before that computer communicates on network through what? IP what? Address. So there's still level of communication that or visibility that can be established with the MAC what? Address. Then we'll look at the practical example. That's a typical home network. Look at the structure. So these are the topic we are targeting in section 2. Can I move? Can I move? So now let's start by knowing what are networks. What are networks? A network occurs when two or more computers are linked. So as a cybersecurity expert, you should know that all the computers in the world, they are what? On either public network or what? Private what? Network. And that is why it is often said that the internet is the highest and the largest what? Network in the entire world. Which also means that the internet has the highest database. On a network, your computer can technically talk to all the other computers. So we should acknowledge this. So you may not be seeing this physically, but just know that once I send you an information and you are able to receive it with your computer, it means that what the two of them have what been able to discuss. There's connection that was or is established before that, because what do we mean by communication in English? Communication is not one side now. I mean, good. So for me to say, okay, I chatted with you yesterday via Facebook, what does that mean? It means that what my own computer on the network, because I use internet, right? I use data, was able to detect the IP address of your own world system, and that led to what? To the exchange of what? Information. So the idea is that once we have this understanding, we can now actually understand what could go wrong at the background. So the bad guys, it means that what? Once they have access to your system IP address, a lot of things can be what? Synchronized from your system. These are the things we need to be aware of. A good example of network is the what? The internet. The internet is the largest network on the planet and consists of what? Billions of what? Devices that communicates with each other due to their connection to the internet. So in 1970s, when internet was discovered in United States of America by a set of soldiers, due to the war or conflicts that was going on there, Their primary motive was to establish what? Connection between different world stations. And that is still the primary reason why we are all on the internet. For us to connect virtually. So let's quickly discuss some type of network. So every cybersecurity personnel should know all this because you are securing cyberspace, and the cyberspace is made up of what? Network. And the network constitutes what? Different what? Devices that are communicating. So it is this concept that the bad guys now shifted their attention from physical stealing to what? Internet what? Stealing. Because they are looking for where they can access more people. Because the physical now, in an area now, they may not access more than 2 persons if they are able to. But on the internet, there are a lot of traffic, a lot of people are transacting, and some of them are leaving their door open. Some of them are communicating wrongly, and they are taking advantage of them. That is why they say that the internet is very porous. It's very open. There is no way everybody that transacts with the internet will know their left and right. There are some that will see the Google. Because there are some persons that are just venturing into the world of computer for the first time. So there are a lot of information that they are not what privileged to. So, but before they will get themselves in order, before they will get to know this, somebody must have what? Taking advantage. And that is why there should be kind of cyber security what? Cyber security update or education. I want to be sure that very soon now, before you send our schools, we start taking it as a subject so that the kids can start getting to know some of these little things. Now, just to discuss some of the type, I will just be summarizing while you are writing. So we have the PAN, which means what? Personal Area Network. If you have done anything related to networking, some of these things should be straight to you. We heard LAN, WAN, right? Even theoretically, they must have taught us in school. So essentially a convenient one-person network. That is the kind of network we refer to as what? PAN, personal. So example of that is your wireless what? PAN. You know, when you buy your wireless router, it means you have made the network to your own. That is why somebody will beg you, please, can you share hotspots? It means that network belongs to only you. You have personalized it. So you are the one that will determine whether you can share it or not. So that falls under what? Personal. And the moment you share the passcode, then another person will now be added to that network. The more you share.
Like your personal hotspot.
Yes, exactly. Because at first you are the only one connected to it, which is in the network. So if you give to 10 people, then you now have a network of what? 10 what? Operators. Now, LAN, local area network. If you work in an office, you probably use this type of what? Network, which is typically a few separate computer linked to 1 or 2 printers. A scanner, and maybe a single word share connection to the internet. This is one of the common network, though we have what we call intranets. Then we have what? Internet. There can be a particular network just within the what? The company. So that one is called intranet, while the internet is the worldwide network. We have the MAN, which is metropolitan area network. This one covers a whole town or city. I'm very sure that most cities in this country have this network established. That is the reason why you are able to get a location, right? You know, there are some places where you cannot trace a place with what? Google what? Map. Which means that what? Metropolitan network has not been what? Set up in that kind of area. Now, this one at times require what we call repeater if you go into networking properly. That is why you see some of us, the area you live, some networks are not strong. Because what? The repeater is far from the mass. Now, we have the WAN, wide area network, covers a whole geographical area. Internet is WAN that covers what? The world. So the big differences between the internet and many other PAN, LAN, and the WAN is that it is open to what? Public. Internet is open. There is no password that is required before you can log into the internet. So that is why if you have not matured in your senses, you enter internet, a world that can carry you to unknown destination. Because it's very wide. That is why you see buy an Android phone or iPhone to a child of 9 years or 8 years. The internet will carry the child away. The child will be overexposed. So some parents are making this mistake and they are doing it out of love to them. They love the children, but only that they are killing the children early. But if you go to the developed country, it's not a big deal. It's not, because they are used to it. They are used to it. And they have put infrastructure in place to monitor everything that happens. Can I move? So permissions and network security. Let's talk about permissions and network security. Like I said, you can just summarize the key points. Just summarize the key points. Let me see if I can even, so that it will be easier for us to navigate. Better like this. So if a machine is on a network, it does not automatically mean that what? Every other machine and device has access to it. So that is what by what? Permission. Your phone has what? Permission, right? Taking permission. But the fact that it's connected to the internet does not give everybody automatic what? Access until you permit, even at times when you are loading some apps. The app will request permission for what? Web camera, your camera, until you say allow, and then the app will even ask you, or the device will ask, when should I continue to make this camera available for this person? Is it only this time, only when the app is what? Active? I believe we must have seen things like that, right? That is permission. These permissions are like different restrictions that have been put with their security measures that checkmate the activities. So permission and security are central to the idea of networking. That is why if your computer and my computer are on the same network, until don't try to go to the work group. There's a thing we call what? Work group. Work group is where all the computer on the network can be what? Accessed. Try go there, see the name of the work group. or probably the set of computers that are within that work group, try opening one. You get a return that says you do not have what? Permission to access that system, which means that the computer is on the network, but it has some what? Security restriction.
So what makes a network?
What makes a network? To make a network, you need nodes. Node is a special term that refers to what? Different computers. So what we are having on the diagram here, how many nodes do we have on the network at the middle? Which means that what? The term node means what? Your computer unit, one of the units. Good. Now, I said to make a network, you need node and connections, sometimes called what? Links between them. So from the diagram, what is linking them? You can see the what? The backbones. The backbone. And they are all connected to what? To the internet. And this is one network. This can be a router. How many of us know what is called router or switch? Good. Because like I can connect the internet to one computer and then connect a router to route the what? In order to spread the what? The internet to different locations through switches. So switches, they are just to connect to where the internet service is. So each node on a network need a special what? Circuit known as network card. How many of us have heard of NIC? Network what? Interface what? Card. There is no computer that you are able to connect to the internet without what? This particular card interface on the board. For the fact that you are able to connect to the internet through that device, it's a proof that the network card of that system is working. It's an interface that controls anything that has to do with networking within that system. To tell it how to interact, that is what the network card does. Tells the system how it should interact with other systems while on that same network. So each network card has its own separate what? Numerical identifier known as what? MAC. So what is the difference between MAC and what? IP address from this? What is the difference between MAC and IP address? MAC is for network, right? While what? IP is for you accept that, or you want to object it to give us the best definition. Somebody should research and read it out for us. MAC address used to identify the device and the local network. IP address is identify the device information on network on internet. So noting that somewhere. Right. Now, if you look at these two pictures, those days for you to like this, all this desktop computer, before you can share your hotspots, you have to go and buy what? This wireless Bluetooth card and connect it. So what we are indirectly doing is that that system did not come with that inbuilt what? Networking card. So this is how it used to be. So every system have this for connection of the LAN cable. Just that we don't have that cable here. I believe you must have seen it. It used to blink one light like that. So if you check the wired connection, now the other one is the wireless, but now they are manufactured in the system board what chips. So we are no longer separating it like this, except if that onboard spoil before you go and buy that small one. Even your laptop, the wireless card that is built in can spoil. When it spoil, we are not advised to remove it. You have to go and buy the card to replace it. So now let's quickly talk about the internet as a network. So this is just a kind of a graphical representation so that you know that even as we are seated now, data are busy entering your eyes and leaving your eyes. You know, data are busy hitting you, but you know that you are not feeling it. So information are flying in the air. And if they are flying, there are highways. That's what it means. That is what this trying to teach us. There are highways, just like the way you have a road linking Asaba towards Anambra State. That I will still have within Asaba some internal linking roads. That is how the internet is. So like highways or rail road lines that connect towns, cities, computer network are often very elaborate, bigger than that. The internet, for example, is based on a set of well-defined connection called the internet backbones, including the vast submarine cables. Some of us, we don't know that there are cables that connect Nigeria to US. How many of us know? Those days, before they could get this telecommunication to this place, they have run cable underground, even some passes through the sea. And these cables, they are used for, transporting data. So even this MTN and all this Glo, they have their fiber cable. So sometimes when they want to maintain and they say they're not going to be service, so there is a server room. There's a server room. A typical example is NTA. NTA, hope you know that NTA has or connects all the television stations together. So if you go to their server room now, there is a cable like this representing channel that is plugged to a port. There is a cable representing what? Other station, AIT. So when they want to display channel, maybe probably they violate the law, they just unplug the cable. There is a server room physically, there are cables. So that is what we are talking about. So we need to know. Now, let's quickly talk about the IP address, which we have been mentioning this. So every computer on a network has an IP address to do what? To identify itself. Just like your phone number. And the funny part of it is that no single computer has two IP address. There's always one. That is why the bad guys, they know that the computer they are using to do all those bad things can be traced with the IP address. So the first thing they do is to go and start installing VPN. So that VPN can generate what? Fake location and fake IP address. Somebody can be in Nigeria here and be acting as if it's in UK. So your IP address is kind of like your phone number, like I've explained. It is how others can contact you. It is important to note that no two computers can have what? Same what? Address. It's not possible. Can I move? So let's quickly look at how data travels across the network. How data travel. Let's have the kind of background of it. So at a very high level, data travel across network in the form of what? Packets. That's why you hear packet router. You see your router, the reason why you need router because what? Data need to be what? Need to be what? Unpacked. The router is what? Unpack it. That's why you need a router. So these are essentially envelopes. So we can conceptualize them as envelope, just like the way somebody will give you letter, package the letter in what? In an envelope. Those days, so now, nobody is going that way again. Just use WhatsApp. So each packet, like an envelope, has two what? Addresses attached to what? To it. And what are the two addresses? One is what? A source address, aka where it is coming from. Hello. Even let's go back to those days where we used to write letter. Formal letter used to have how many address? Two, right? So that is what we are talking about. The second one is the destination address, aka where it is going to. The router read what? Packets. Router read packets and send them on what? The correct what? Routes to the destination address. Hence, the name was router. So this is the structure of what we are talking about. So let me just, so now let's quickly discuss ports and protocols. So this is also an aspect that we need to understand because when we start the ethical hacking proper, you will see us, referencing ports. So it's very important we understand what are ports. So when data is transmitted over a network, it is essentially done over what is called ports. So the ports, they are just like the medium in which those data are transported from one point to another. So you can think of ports as separate communication channels that hold specific purposes. For example, if you are browsing the web, you typically send traffic over port what? So anytime you are browsing on the web, the browser as a website, the popular port you are or you could be using the port 80. One is secure. If you are browsing a website that does not have security, that is port 441. Okay. Website with security, port 80. So once a web developer hosts a site without security, they place that site on a port. That is why they will always tell you that if you cannot find that security feature, don't do anything on such a website, because if anything happens, you will not be able to trace anybody. So in total, there are 65,535 ports. So I don't know how you are going to cram all of them, which is not possible. So just for you to take note of the important one. So, but we only need to know the handful. So top ports and protocol to know. So you just copy them and know. So these are the ones that are more important that you need to know what they represent. Okay, so let's take this one as the last one. TCP and the UDP. So one is transmission control protocol, while the other one is user datagram protocol. So when using ports, it is important to know that each port exists on both TCP and UDP. So this is just like the general platform where these ports are managed. So TCP is a connection-oriented protocol built around confirming packet delivery. So this means that every packet that is sent over TCP has its delivery confirmed and is resent if delivery fails, making it a little slower than UDP. So there have to be communication of confirmation, while UDP is known as a connectionless protocol, meaning that it does not check for failed transmission of packets. As a result, UDP is faster. So why is UDP is faster? Because it does not what? Confirm. Just like one-way transmission. All right, so we will just stop with this slide. So let's quickly look at public and private IP address. So we need to differentiate them. So I've already mentioned it before that we have two kinds of IP address, public and a private. A public IP address is the address that identifies your device on the internet. So once your device connects to the internet, it's going to automatically generate what? Public address. So everyone else on the internet can see your public address. The private IP address is the address that identifies your device on your own personal network, like at home. So we need to understand that there could be two IP addresses.